let's get into it. And make sure if you want to support me some more, use code EpicGamer184 on the Fortnite item shop and subscribe. Thank you. We are the warriors who learn to love the pain. Hello? Dude? Think I remember you. No.
I know Grade A Under A already made a video about this, but shut up, okay? You wasn't the only person to ever be interviewed. Just because you talk about something doesn't mean no one else is allowed to talk about it. Now, I'm a young adult guy, so I only ever applied to fast food and retail jobs. And can I ask, why is there so much pressure to get a job when you're a teenager? As soon as I turned 16, my dad would always ask me, did you get a job yet? And I would hate it when I would apply to places online, and then my dad would tell me that I need to apply in person because that's better. They need to see my sparkling, responsible face. But then 99% of the time, I would walk in and ask some other teenager where I could apply, and they would just look at me and say, you could apply online, dude. And just so you know, I got a job at Subway that I applied for online, Dad. But okay, it is important to get a job at that age so you can save up for college. I thought that's what people got fast food jobs for, but only one other person I worked with was planning on going to college. But even though you won't be able to afford college at a minimum wage job, every penny helps because college is important. Except in my case, I dropped out of college. School is for nerds! Why is it so difficult to get a job in fast food or retail? If you don't have any friends that are working someplace that's hiring, and if you don't have any past job experience, then it's so hard to get a job, even as a teenager.
Stop.
Or maybe I just completely failed every single interview, I don't know.
Put your foot down
How many places
before I do it
There
again.
was only a 20% chance that they would call and set up an interview, and then after the interview, there was a 0% chance they would actually hire me. Can we talk about those insulting personality quizzes they make you take?
Stop.
Place is supposed to know how good of a worker you are from a quiz. When I first started applying to places, I answered those questions truthfully. But then when I was getting
Put your foot down.
I answered strongly agree or strongly disagree. My opinions were
Put your
never
feet
accepted.
down.
This one time I applied to a grocery
God.
store, and this woman took me in the break room, and then she told me to wait, and then she
Sorry,
left
my
for 20
retarded
minutes.
brother's down
yeah,
here.
I timed it, and I didn't want to start playing on my phone just in case she came back and saw how irresponsible I was being. So I seriously just sat there doing nothing for 20 minutes. And I was in the break room. Other
Yes, you
employees
are.
just walked in and out, and no one was acknowledging my existence. Does that mean I can just walk into any other break room, just sit down, and no one's going to stop me? But then the lady finally came back with another girl, and this girl was being trained to be a manager, so the lady was using me to teach her how to interview people. So they sat across from me, and they were just talking to each other, and they were saying stuff like, so you can't ask him if he's 18, you have to ask him if he's over 18. Are you over 18? No. Okay, so you're gonna check the not hire box right there. I applied to a Chipotle and I freaking got an interview, right? They didn't hire me, obviously. But then I applied to a different Chipotle and I got an interview there too. And apparently the other Chipotle snitched on me because I get to this Chipotle and the lady there asks me, did you already apply here? And I told her I got an interview at a different Chipotle, and she sits me down and starts telling me about how Chipotle is looking for a certain type of person working for them. But all I heard was, get out of this store, you stupid, stupid boy. What makes you think I would ever hire you? Certain type. Are you looking for a person who puts all the sour cream on one half of the burrito? Is that what you mean by certain type? Because you seem to have an endless amount of people of that certain type. Hashtag boycott Chipotle because they didn't hire James like 3 years ago. Apparently, I was that certain type of person who worked at Subway, because that's where I finally got hired. I'm not sure if that's an insult or not. And okay, I don't want to brag, but I was one of the best employees that Subway ever had. I was always on time, or 5 minutes late now. I never called in last minute saying I needed someone to cover my shift. In fact, I think I covered the most shifts. And whenever I closed with another person, the manager would usually complain about the work the other person did. So all those places that didn't hire me, you missed out. So this next story happened after I got a job at Subway. I didn't want to work with sandwiches anymore. I didn't want to keep getting paid minimum wage. So I actually like math, right? I'm pretty freaking smart. And hold on, I just need to say something. A lot of people ask me what I was going to major in college because they think I did something artsy and that's what they want to do. I actually majored in math education. That's right, I wanted to be a math teacher, not this artsy stuff. Ugh. So I applied to be a math tutor at my community college. Like, that would have been the perfect job. I'm a math education major, I want to be a math teacher, and this job would give me good practice for the actual job. So in this interview, they gave you a practice problem, and then you had to teach the people giving the interview, which makes sense. I think all jobs should have a practice instead of an interview. For some stupid reason, I was only allowed to teach the math that I had completed, and I did AP Calculus in high school, but for another stupid reason, the credits didn't transfer. Maybe it was because I didn't do the AP test, who knows? So I had to do calculus in community college again. So when I was applying, I could only tutor algebra and trigonometry. I got my practice problem, and it was so obviously a calculus problem. It was one of those, this is person A's distance over time, and this is person B's distance over time. Who's going faster at this time? Okay, that's an easy problem, okay? Take my word for it. But since these people I was quote-unquote tutoring didn't know calculus, I couldn't use calculus to teach them. Do you guys know what a derivative is? No. And I did my dang darndest best teaching them what calculus was, but then at the end, they told me that I did it wrong. Like, my answer was completely wrong. They said something like, oh, I was assuming they were going the same direction. I don't freaking know. And I felt super stupid and embarrassed. And I told them, yeah, okay, I'll leave. And as I was walking to my car, I was doing the problem in my head, and I was like, no, I did it right. And then in the car, I even got out a piece of paper and I did the problem again. No, I'm still right. So the whole time I was so bummed out. I totally blew that interview. They're not gonna hire me. But then that night I got a phone call, and it's the people, and they told me, hey, so we're talking about that problem with some of the calculus teachers, and they all agree that problem has some elements of calculus. So that leads me to believe that these three really didn't know what a derivative was, but then they told me they'd give me a second chance. Ooh, I was ecstatic. I had to go to Target and buy another nice shirt because I only own one nice shirt, and it'd be weird if I showed up in the same shirt. I get there, I get the problem about a farmer and his fence. I totally nailed that problem. I knew exactly how much fence that farmer needed to build 2 pens, with one being 2x plus 3 units larger. His farm animals were going to be so happy. Hit me up if you need any more help, dude. The whole time I kept asking them, you guys understand? And they said, yeah. So I thought I was doing good. I left feeling a lot more confident. But then they never called me back, so I didn't get the job, even though I bought a nice shirt from Target. And I kept working at Subway, and the world lost what could have been an awesome math teacher that day. This is what I'm thinking. They're probably just embarrassed that they gave me a calculus problem, and then I totally got it right in front of them. And then they thought it would have been awkward if we worked together. That's totally what happened. It wasn't because I actually got the problem wrong, or I was a freshman and all the other tutors were in their mid-20s. The point is, I'm not going to be teaching math anytime soon. Unless I freaking make a video about it, like that Khan Academy guy. Man, you know how many tests I didn't fail because of that guy? Ah, I love that guy. He should adopt me. So here's a little tip for job interviews. If you're ever going to do one, you should always wear your seatbelt.
Suck up my endometriosis pain. Or I can keep apologizing. Or I can hope my pain gets better on its own. Or I can talk to my gynecologist today.
You didn't choose to have endometriosis, but you can choose to ask if Orilissa is right for you. Orilissa is specifically developed for women with moderate to severe endometriosis pain. In clinical trials, Orilissa was proven to reduce 3 common types of endometriosis pain: painful periods, pelvic pain in between periods, and painless sex. Don't use Orilissa if you are or may be pregnant, have osteoporosis, severe liver disease, or are taking drugs like cyclosporin or gemfibrozil. It may cause abnormal liver tests. Orilissa may change your periods, making it hard to know if you are pregnant. It does not prevent pregnancy. Use birth control that does not contain hormones. Orilissa may cause suicidal thoughts or actions. It may also cause bone loss. Ask your gynecologist if Orilissa is right for you. Orilissa, made for endopain.
I think that everyone at some point in their life should work in a fast food or retail job. Not to improve their work ethic or anything, but so that everyone knows what it's like to have that kind of job. They wouldn't work in fast food their whole lives, maybe just like for 6 months, just so they get a feel for it. So with that, let's talk about the time when I worked in fast food. I used to work at a very small local sandwich shop. I don't know if any of you guys heard of it. It's called Subway. Our spokesperson was in the news recently. I don't know if you guys look at the news. Did you hear he got beat up in jail? I kind of want to meet the person who beat up Jared more than Jared. Not in person. We wouldn't meet in person, obviously. But like, he would be behind bars, and I would just look at the guy who beat up my spokesperson. How many people get to say that they beat up a fast food icon who's also a pedophile? Only one, and it's that guy. Okay, but seriously guys, working at Subway was probably one of the most easiest jobs out there. I don't know why I'm about to complain about it to you guys. We got free cookies. And you know the comic with the Subways in Hell? I was actually working at Subway when I made that comic. I just think it adds sort of a little bit of value to it. You see, the owners, who are husband and wife, can you believe it, of the Subway I worked at owned 2 stores. One of the Subway stores was in a Walmart on an Indian reservation, because we have those in Arizona. The other Subway was the Subway I worked at. And since the Walmart store was always busy, the owners would spend 99% of their time at that store. So I didn't really have a boss most of the time. On the off chance the owners did show up, they would just pick up some food and then they would make sure I was making sandwiches the right way. And every time I made a sandwich in front of them, they would always find something wrong with it, without fail. You put on too many olives. Do you know, according to the Subway formula, you're only supposed to put on 8 olives on a foot long? 8! One for every other bite. That's just ridiculous. Can you imagine someone just counting out 8 olives? Nobody does that. I usually worked the closing shift, and at the end of the night, we would turn the alarm and we had 60 seconds to get out of the store. But one time I had the opening shift, so I unlocked the door to get in with my key, and the alarm went beep, beep, meaning I had 60 seconds to turn it off. No big deal, right? I've turned the alarm on all the time when I was closing. So I go to the little control panel, and I type in the code, and nothing happens. The beeping is still there, and the clock is still ticking down. So I go, okay, I'm going to press each button very carefully. I'm going to make sure each button makes a beep when I press it. Beep, beep, beep. Nothing still happens. So I go, okay, I'm going to make sure to press each button very carefully. And I start thinking, did they change the passcode without telling me? Well, this is the only passcode I know, so we're just going to try it again. And I press each button very carefully. Beep. 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 It goes quiet. And then the alarm goes off. I still had like 20 seconds left. But I guess when you get it wrong 3 times, it automatically assumes that you're a burglar. So while the alarm is going off, I look on the contact sheet for the owner's cell phone number. I step outside, I call him, and he doesn't pick up. So I go back inside, find the number for the other Subway store. They open an hour before we do. Someone picks up with their stupid voice. Oh, thank you for calling Subway. I'm blah, 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 blah. How may I help you? And I go, hey, is Mike there? It's not his real name, guys, don't worry. And they go, just a minute. Yeah, sure, I have all the time in the world. The cops might be on their way, but take your time. So, Mike picks up. Yellow. Hey, Mike, this is James. What's the passcode for the alarm? Who is this? It's James. What's the passcode? What are you doing there, James? Why aren't you answering the question? I have the opening shift. Is the alarm going off? Yeah, no one told me the new code. Yeah, we changed it. It's the last 4 digits of your social security number. Oh, okay, thanks, Mike. I don't know my social security number. So I finally get the alarm off. No one showed up, thankfully. Which I actually don't know if that's a good thing or not, now that I say it out loud. We did have a store manager who would like make the schedule and sometimes tell us, hey, can you guys do a better job at your job? But other than that, she was cool. She watches my videos, and so do her little brothers. They're big fans. Shout out to Ivan and Andy. Those are brothers. So get this, at Subway, you only work with one other person. Just you and them in an empty Subway for 5 hours. I mean, we weren't like empty all the time, okay? And when you're not making sandwiches, you have other stuff to do, like stocking the chips, or we had stuff to do. But okay, we did watch a lot of Netflix and do homework, so I mean, it was that other person you worked with would make or break your entire shift. It wasn't the annoying customers. I kind of got used to annoying customers. So I worked with a lot of crappy people. And I also worked with a lot of people who I would probably never become friends with except in a work setting. You see, you gotta understand the type of people who got jobs at Subway. Potheads. Most of them are potheads. And some of them are really cool. I'm just going to go over a couple of the characters that I worked with. There was Tyler. I freaking love this guy. He smoked a lot of weed. He actually taught me what vaping was, and he got me into Clash of Clans. I actually mentioned him and his girlfriend in my Riddles video. I don't know if I ever told him that. And of course, I have to mention Corey. He was cool. We watched How to Get Away with Murder on Netflix, and I've also hung out with him outside of work. What him and Tyler had in common is that they would actually do their job, which you got to appreciate. Then there was this guy, and get this, who was also named Jared, and he was fat. I know, right? He's like Jared before. He loved Marvel, and that's like the only thing he would talk about. I can say these things. He doesn't watch my videos. There was Sarah. She was cool. She made me a bread bowl. And her boyfriend, Jay, he talked about chakras and third eyes. He was Interesting. And also, there's Anthony. He's cool. What's up, Anthony? For the 100,000 sprinkles video, I actually went back to Subway to use their scale because I knew they had one. And we counted 500 sprinkles again just to be more accurate for the 100,000. And Anthony helped me count instead of working. I mean, at least he got paid minimum wage for it. So 2 more stories before I go. One time, Jared asked me to take out this pile of trash, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll just put this pile of trash in the dumpster. And as I was taking it out, I saw that there was a chip poster in the pile. And I thought, this is too cool to throw away. I'm gonna keep it. So I took it home with me, and then the next day when I went in, people were saying, oh, where's the chip poster? We can't find the chip poster. We haven't seen it anywhere. And I'm thinking, I have the poster. I decided not to tell anyone that I had the poster. And it's still hanging up in my room. Sorry, boss, if you're finding out about this now. Okay, and then the other story, I was working with a manager, and we were just making sandwiches like usual. And I noticed that when we toasted a sandwich, it would burn the paper a little on the edges. That probably shouldn't be happening. So then a customer asks for just bacon toasted. And the boss lady puts some bacon on paper, and then puts it in the toaster. And we don't have a setting for just bacon. So then when she opens the toaster, there was a fire on the bacon. So then she starts to whack it with the little metal tray thing, but all she ended up doing was fanning the flames, making the fire bigger. You got this, right? Then I went in the back and I got the fire extinguisher and I actually used it. I single-handedly saved that Subway. Wait, what have I done? Is it okay if the bacon's a little crispy and has nitrogen and carbon dioxide stuff on it? Wow, I didn't even mention a single bad customer experience. Well, I don't want the video to be...
God, you should be a lot better. Ha.
What does sueñito mean?
Sueñito. It means little dream.
No.
Hey, this is kind of like a part 2 video. I mean, you don't have to have seen the part 1 video to understand what I talk about in this video. But I mean, if you haven't watched part 1, you should. So I used to work at Subway, and to be honest, about 80% of the customers were fine. Sometimes they would do something that would just personally annoy me, like ask for a meatball on flatbread. So don't feel too bad. Like sometimes people would ask me, can I have a turkey with lettuce? Bread, foot-long or thickness? What kind of cheese? Is it toasted? Then we'll talk about vegetables. And every time someone brought in a list, there would always be something missing on it. Always. I never had someone come in with a complete list. I would ask someone, what kind of cheese? And they would say, they didn't specify. Well then, if they didn't care enough to remember cheese, I guess they'll get Swiss. If anyone watching is currently working at a Subway, then feel free to use these tricks. If someone asked me,
what kind of cheese do you recommend?
I would always say provolone, because it's the easiest cheese to pull apart with gloves on. Really, if anyone asked me what I recommended, I would just tell them the easiest thing for me to do. But even after I gave my insightful provolone cheese recommendation, sometimes people would still say,
I'll take American.
why do you even ask me what cheese I would recommend if you're not going to take it seriously? Another thing that would annoy me is when people would say the sandwich was all done, but they didn't put any sauce on it. So I would ask, any sauce? And then they would be like, oh yeah, mayonnaise. Oh, why did you tell me it was all done if it wasn't? Also, the receipt machine at the store took like 7 seconds to print out the receipt. So it would be very awkward every time I would ask people, do you want your receipt? And then they would say yes, and then we would just stare at each other until the receipt printed. So what I did every time someone swiped their credit card, I would just stare up into space, and in my head I would count to 5, and then I would ask, do you want your receipt? And by the time they said yes, it was like magic. As soon as they said yes, the receipt printed. At Subway, you only work with one other person. So if someone got annoyed and said, let me talk to your manager, I would just look at them and go,
Crash TIE Fighter.
I've been here the longest. The only other person in the store is a 16-year-old girl, and she technically isn't old enough to use a toaster, so I'm probably your best bet. I'm the manager. Like, do people think the manager will automatically take their side and give them free stuff? Yes, actually they do think that, because it happens all the time. I would consider myself a pretty laid-back Subway employee. I didn't like to be stingy with people, even though I was disobeying the Subway formula on purpose. Oh, you want more than 6 olives on your footlong? Sure. Here, have a 5th slice of cheese. $1.50 for avocado. I'll charge you 75 5 cents, buddy. I probably shouldn't be saying these things, you know, in case this whole YouTube thing flops and I need a job. So I wasn't really strict on the rules. You know those fast food workers who are strict? Yeah, we won't serve breakfast at 10:02. Get out. But being pretty laid back still didn't stop people from being annoying. So this one person comes in and asks for 2 foot-long pastrami sandwiches. And pastrami is our most expensive sandwich. It's about $10 for a foot-long. And guys, the pastrami is super good. But I wouldn't pay for it. I mean, it's good, yeah, but I'm not paying $10 for a foot-long. It's not worth it. So this guy, I make him 2 sandwiches, I ring him up, and I say, that'll be $20. And I guess he didn't look at the price of the sandwich on the menu, or he thought we still did a $5 foot-long, because he said to me, I ain't paying for that. And this is when I was just starting out. I only had like a week of experience. And after he said that, I responded, well, shoot, I guess you're not paying for it. I didn't know people could do that. Hey, I want this. All right, that's $20. Nah, you don't want it? No, I want it. I'm just not paying for it. Okay, no, but actually, we did come up with a compromise. He told me that he had $12, so he ended up paying for one of the sandwiches, and I got to eat the other one. So it all worked out. This one time I was making a sandwich for a guy with a very heavy accent, and he asks for onions on the side. No big deal. We had soup way put vegetables in little cups all the time. I actually got a soup cup because the on the side cups are teeny tiny, and I start doing my thing, but then he says, no, on the side. And I think, oh, he's getting a foot long. He probably wants onions on half of it, but not the other. So I start putting onions on half the sub, but then again he says, no, on the side. At this point, I don't know what this guy wants. So I ask him, on the side of what? And then he screams, onions! And I never figured out what he was trying to say. This one old gentleman asks for sauce to be put on his vegetables, and normally we put it on top of the sandwich with the meat. And I didn't know if I heard him correctly because I put the sauce on and then I closed the sandwich. So your sauce would have been in the same place either way. One time this woman tipped me and Corey $40. She wasn't annoying, I just want to sprinkle in some good customer stories. Okay, one time this Native American person came in, and I don't know if mentioning that was important to the story. He comes in and asks for 5 foot-long tunas. Okay, Tyler, just me and you, let's do this. And then when we're all finished, we ring him up and we say, anything else? And he says, 7 meatballs. What? He wanted 7 more sandwiches. But James, you're Suabway. You're supposed to make people sandwiches regardless of how many they ask for. Yeah, I know, but the guy could have handled it differently. Normally for a platter, you have to call in at least an hour ahead, and that's only 5 foot longs. This guy could have called ahead and said, hey, I'm getting 12 sandwiches, so just prepare yourselves. Mentally. I mean, we had so many customers waiting in line. No, we didn't. That's a lie. It was only him. But still, this one woman, I was making her sandwich, and for vegetables, she asks for extra lettuce. So I put on a big handful, but then she asks for more. So I put more on, more. And